Okay, so in this part we're going to start adding some finer detail. So we've got the two parts offset, but there's a gap where they don't really meet, and we need to fill it. So I'm going to take the screw mounts and bring them together. So I'm sketching on the right plane, or I'm not. I'm sketching directly on the faces because we're actually offset from the right plane as of when we divided the parts. So let's put some geometry, in this case circles, over the bits we want to bring out. So we're going to extrude these bits. We need to make co-radial because we want to fully constrain the circle to some geometry. So to do this, we're just selecting the circle, selecting the edge, making co-radial. Okay, so we're in a good position to bring the parts together. So I know the width of the rectangle we made to produce the gap was 0.2, so we can make this 0.2. So we're extruding out by 0.2. Feature scope is this part. Okay, so that should at least give us at least 4 fixing points where the two halves clearly meet. Oh, there you go. So you can see the gap that we had has gone. So it's just a slightly more realistic part than it was before. Can't really have the parts floating offset from each other. So we need to, okay, so I'm offsetting now from the right plane, but we need to, so in parallel with the right plane, but on the edge of the circle, right on the tip of the lens. So here we go. I need to draw some circles. I'm offsetting away from the part for a reason, because I'm gonna cut some material away from the outside. So what I'm about to do with these circles, let's link them to the screw mount. So I'm selecting the axis for the screw mounts. Just need to fully constrain all of them. So at the very least, we now have the centers constrained, and we now need to standardize the diameters. So let's make them equal. Let's give them a dimension. So we're going to make them all 6 mil. So we made it all the circles equal, and we made them all 6 mil. So we need to cut these circles. Just have a think about how best to do this. So let's take them one by one. So first we take the ones at the front. So we've selected the same plane, we've copied the geometry from the front, and now we're doing an offset cut extrude. So we're going to offset from surface. We're now offset by 2 mil because we need a mounting point. We're just going to hollow out some material for the screw thread. And there you go. So we've hollowed out some material and left 2 mil for the connection between the bodies. Now let's do the back. So we can use the template sketch we made, the template screw hole sketch. Sketch on the same plane. Up to surface. Or offset from surface. We need to pick a surface to offset from. So we haven't got a lot to play with. So it has to be this back face, yeah? So let's see if there's any depth achieved. Let's try this again. Offset from surface. 2 mil. What do we get? Not a great deal of depth. We may struggle with the screw head sticking out, so might have to look at that. So now we need some bolt holes. So we've selected the hole specification tool. M3 screw clearances. So ISO standard type screw clearances. Hole size is an M3. We need to find a position. So go into the position tab. Let's place. So there's one. If you place it and manage to get to relate to the part, that's half the job. You don't have to go back in and realign. So the last part to link. And everything should stay where we've put it. Let's see what happens when we... So through all's no good, it's just going to go through the entire part. So maybe 80, 90% of the way through. So performing the cut, we went through just the yellow body. We've got a threaded mount. So we need to do the same thing to our grey body part. I suppose we could have tried to have gone through the through hole, but we need a tap drill this time. So going by the ISO standards, but we're using tap drill, and tap drill basically means we're going to leave enough material in this part for somebody to manually use a tap, like a little cutting tool for cutting threads, to cut the threads out. Of course, if you were going to mold this part, you would probably want to build the threads into the part. So there's no human element getting involved, but so we've got 3 out of 4 parts. So we just need to kind of clean up, auto select, selecting the bodies, blind. Let's see, how far can we go? 20 mil seems a bit excessive. We're going to go all the way through the body. Don't want that. 15 gives us some material. We could go back a little bit further. So making it 12 give us even more material to work with. So we've got our clearance, and we've got our tap drill. And that is our detail for our holes. Okay, last part, let's add the final detail. So we're just pretty much finished modelling. We've just got to clean up a few things before we say that the main body section of this is finished at least. So let's rename the 2 solid bodies. Just having one last look while we're doing it. So main body part 1, main body part 2, okay. Let's add all these parts into a folder. So because we're using a multi-body part style of modelling, which basically we're going to model all our solid bodies in one part file and then export. Let's just bunch everything we've done up for these 2 bodies.